Good morning, hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 297 and we're here live in Southwest Florida waiting on the sun to rise over the buildings and the trees to the east. And this is the Gulf of Mexico behind me. It is a very calm morning this morning. Chilly, it's about 52 degrees out here, but not super windy, and lots of birds here joining me. I don't think there's many people, but definitely a bunch of birds with me, and I'll show you when I turn the camera around. But beautiful colors. There's been gold and peach in the sky, a little bit of purple. Ah, here comes the wind. I spoke too soon. Good morning, Pamela. Good morning, Karen. If you're joining me live, please say hello and let me know what you're crafting on this morning. I have made some progress on my tapestry bag. Look at the size of this. It's getting pretty big. Good morning, Kimberly and Judy and Edna. Thanks for joining live. I'll show more of my little tips and tricks for doing tapestry crochet this morning. Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, so I started it, when did I start this? 2 days ago? Hi, Lisa. Hi, Donna. Thanks for joining live. So you start at the bottom base and work in a circle to make a circular base, and then work even on the side. So it's basically the same construction as a hat. So just a gigantic hat. But because I didn't use a chart or a pattern and just kind of winged it from my brain, had to finish the flowers, so that's why the circular base is so large. It ends at the tip of the flower, but it will make a fabulous project bag. And so what I was thinking is you could either, I'm going to go a couple more inches up the sides. It would make a really great tote bag if you put handles here and here. But another thing that I thought might be interesting is, and I'm not sure what you call this type of construction for handles, but it reminds me of a brown paper bag where you do an accordion fold on one side and an accordion fold on the other, and make 8 drawstring holes, so one on either side of all 4 of these folds, and so that once you pull that one whole loop together, it'll cinch the sides together. If you are not sure what I'm talking about and you want to see this style, if you have a copy of my book Motif Magic, the felted bag is done in this style. I should have brought it with me this morning. If I remember, I'll bring it tomorrow. So what happens is when you hold the handles together, it cinches the sides closed like that, and then when you open it back up, you have this gigantic bag. So what would be great about that for a project bag is that because of the flat bottom, it would sit flat on the floor when you're working out of it, and then as soon as you see, oh, you know what? I brought yarn with me this morning. Remember when we had our 1-year anniversary podcast on Fort Myers Beach? I have that bag of all the new colors of Be So Sporty Bling and Be So Fine Bling with me this morning. So what I'm going to do now is fill the bag with yarn so you can pretend that this is, and we can go over these colors again if you want to see them. So it was so windy that day, it might be nice to talk about those colors again. So let me fill the bag. You can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get it on camera. If I put it down here, you can see the bag will sit. See if I go a little further down, you might be able to see it. So, okay, so there, can you see it? Yeah. So once you fill the bag, imagine if you were using this for a project. Once you filled it, it'll sit really nice sitting by itself when it's got your project in it. And then what I'm suggesting is if you put the holes here and here and here and here, then when you lift it up, your handles, it would lift up like that, in the same shape as a grocery bag. Or if you wanted to make it a tote bag, you would keep the sides fine and just do 4 holes. You would put your handles here and here, and then it would be a tote bag. And for a tote bag, I feel like it's a couple inches too short still, so I'm going to do a couple more inches. The other option you could do, which is a little more traditional with this type of bag. Well, hi, sweetheart. Good morning. Did you want to look at yarn? Yeah, do you like the colors of the bag? other beak is pointy. Hi guys! No, I don't have food, but you can say good morning. Hi! Can you see how close he is? Oh my God, this little guy is just sitting right here. And oh, don't be shy, come back. He was right at the edge of the blanket and just staring at me. Anyway, I don't understand the birds, but they're hilarious. So anyway, let's go through the colors that I put in here, and we can show them, because that day when I did show you these colors, I think that it was awfully windy that day, and maybe that was a little bit distracting from showing you all the colors. So we could do that again too. Yes, I'm wearing my the knit version of the Zen scarf pattern, and I'll show you those colors as well if you like. And I'm wearing it looped over, which I think is one of the beauties of making something this large, is that you can wear it in so many different ways. So this is the knit one done in Be So Fine yarn in Crushed Berries, Tropical Hot Coral, Calypso Lime, Aloha Blue, and Passionate Plum. And so what I did to wear it in the way I'm wearing it today is looped it like this and put it over my head. That's it. And I just thought it was a nice way to dress up a plain old jean jacket and a black top for this morning. It's chilly. I could have probably thrown on more clothes, but this is what I did, and that's that. So first I thought I'd show you the colors, the new colors in Be So Sporty Bling. So we've got Feisty Flamingo, Living Coral, Sunset 05. Well, as soon as that sun comes up, it might even look prettier. And this is Mermaid 02 and Sky's the Limit. And what's really, really pretty is how pretty they are next to each other. The color changes, the color differences between them are subtle, but absolutely stunning. So from this side, we're gonna go Feisty Flamingo, Living Coral, Sunrise 05, Mermaid 02, and Sky's the Limit. Let's see if I can get those all the way up without being in the shadow. As soon as the sun comes up, you'll probably see them even better. So those are the 5 new colors in Be So Sporty Bling, and then I have their counterparts and a little more in Be So Fine Bling, or no, just a variation, I guess. So we've got Feisty, this is Be So Fine Bling, Feisty Flamingo, Living Coral, Sunrise 05, Mermaid 02, and Ava's Isle d'Amour. Then we'll go from this side. We've got Feisty Flamingo, Living Coral, Sunrise 05, Mermaid 02, and Ava's Isle d'Amour. If anybody wants to see any of these side by side, please feel welcome to ask. I have them, you can see if you want to combine sporty and Living Coral is a little warmer or a little more pink than Tropical Hot Coral. That would be the only difference. I was inspired by the Pantone new color Living Coral, so I realized that it had a little more pink to it than my Tropical Hot Coral, so this one's a little more pink. And you can see it next to Tropical Hot Coral here. It's definitely a little more pink. And not as pink as Feisty Flamingo. So I'll leave all those there. If you want to see any of them side by side, I would be happy to show you. I also brought, I have Chantilly lace in both Be So Fine Bling and Be So Sporty Bling. You're welcome, Grace. And these look gorgeous with the new colors as well. So if anybody wants to see those side by side, I'd be happy to pick them up again. We should get the sun coming up soon. Oh, let me show you the beach. So here's all the birds that I was talking about. They're all hanging out right here. Here's the beach to the south of us. You can see there's no visibility to see South Naples or Marco today, Marco Island. Few walkers, not many. Here's where the sun's about to come up over the trees. And here's the beach to the north of us. and you'll see the visibility is kind of mediocre. Beautiful how the sun lights up the buildings though. I always love that along the shoreline. A couple of walkers, not many. So basically we've got this big beautiful beach to ourselves again today. Oh, boo-hoo. I don't mean that. I like it when the beach is quiet. Okay, so as you can see, or I'm about to show you, I do not have any tangles with my 2 yarns because I've been doing a great job of following my own advice for not tangling 2 colors as I crochet simultaneously with 2 colors. So what I've been doing, and I mentioned something very specifically yesterday, and I wanted to touch base on that again today. I was showing you how to put 1 ball in front of your work and 1 ball behind your work, and that was meant as a teaching tip for you to get used to working with yarns in 2 directions. Once you get used to doing that, let's see if I can put I don't know if I can put it somewhere where you see it. They can actually be sitting right next to each other. And what you just need to do is make sure that you're working 1 way for 1 color and 1 way for the other. I was exaggerating that movement by putting the balls of yarn 1 behind me and 1 in front of me, because it was an exaggeration to show you that 1 yarn will go over and 1 yarn will go under. So now that I've explained that, I'm going to show you how I do it while leaving my yarns in the same space. So they are not tangled right now. They're both as smooth as can be. And so right now I'm going to be working with my orchid pink. This is Be So Baby yarn, and I'm using a size E crochet hook. So I'm working my orchid color and working over the navy blue. And in this particular sequence of the color, I had to do 5 double crochets in orchid pink. I'm on my 5th stitch now, so I'm going to do everything but the last, yes Joe, it's a size E, everything but the last step of the double crochet, set my pink down to the front of me, pick up my navy, set the pink down to the front of me, but, which is the exaggeration because you want it to actually sit on top of the stitches, pick up my navy blue, finish the last step of the last stitch of orchid pink with the navy, then do and this sequence is actually only for 1 double crochet in navy, so we're going to do everything but the last step in that stitch, set the navy yarn to the back of the work, pick up the orchid which was to the front of the work, but make sure that the navy sits on top of the stitches. As we finish the last step of the navy stitch with the pink, then continue on to our pink sequence, working over the navy as we work. It sounds really complicated, but it's not. Once you get moving on it, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to do this again. I'm at the last step of the last stitch for pink and want to change to navy, so I'm going to pull my pink to the front of the work, pick up the navy, adjust the pink on top of the stitches, finish my stitch in navy to work the next stitch in navy, but this particular row is a 1-stitch sequence in navy, so already I'm going to drop it, but drop it to the back of the work, pick up the pink in the front of the work, and position the navy on top of the stitches, finish the stitch in pink, and continue on in my pink sequence, working over the navy yarn. And that sounds so incredibly complicated, but it's not. Once you do it, you'll see it's not that complicated. And what I'm giving you is some good practices so that your yarn doesn't get tangled. Oops, and I just made the mistake. See, because I was talking, I moved my pink to the back of the work, pink goes to the front of the work. Pick up the navy. And what's great is when you're paying attention to where you're putting your yarn, even if you make a mistake, you're generally going to only have a couple of mistakes, like a couple of tangles or twists. And when you only have a couple to fix, it doesn't take any time at all. It's when you haven't been paying attention to your yarn tangling for, I don't know, 200 twists. That's when it gets really wonky. I have the pattern and I wrote the pattern and charts for this yesterday. Just need to get it tech edited, and as soon as I do, I will be able to release the pattern. When I've finished it, I've got to finish the top in order to finish the last couple rounds of the pattern and also finish the photography. But just so you know, the pattern is almost done. All of the charts are written and color-coded. The line-by-line instructions coordinate with it. So as soon as I can physically finish this, we can get really close to having the pattern released for all of you to enjoy too. And then get the videos going. Does anybody have any questions? And then as long as everybody enjoys this pattern, I'd really like to do some more complicated ones with more than 2 colors in single crochet. So I think it'd be fun to get everybody started on an easier project first, and then we'll work our way up to something a little more complicated too. I find the time really flies when you have a little more to pay attention to. So having to pay attention to these several other details, I actually think makes the work go quicker. I don't know, maybe some of you feel that way too. Thanks, Edna. I think it's the golden sunlight on my face. That early morning sun is magic. Good morning, Gail. Thanks for joining live. Oh, wow, it's so much warmer with the sun came up this morning. Today there was a huge contrast. Thank goodness. I was starting to freeze. Well, not technically. I guess you can't freeze at 52 degrees, but you can feel freezing. Hi, Nancy from Oregon. Thanks for joining live. If anybody has any questions for me, please let me know. Or if you want to see anything up close, you want to see any more of the colors of Be So Fine Bling and Be So Sporty Bling. If you want to see more of this up front, up close. If you have any other questions for me, go for it. Ooh, 25 degrees, Chris. That sounds chilly. Hopefully you aren't sitting outside in that weather. Tammy's also in Oregon. Cool, maybe you guys are neighbors. No, I bet not, Chris. 25 degrees is not, I think 52 is tough for sitting outside in the wind. And like I said, it's much warmer now that the sun came out. But before the sun came out and the wind was out, it's pretty damp here, but it's getting really awesome now. And I love all my bird friends today. They're so fun. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention yesterday. Let's see, let me make sure that I'm getting this. I'm at the end of my round, so I want to make sure I get everything done correctly. You know how we do the last step of each stitch when we're changing color in the new color? Well, I wanted to mention that when you're starting a round with a chain 3 and the next stitch is a new color, I wanted you to realize that that third chain would also be considered the last step of that stitch. So like when you're doing a double crochet, you would yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, but save that last yarn over, pull through 2 to the new color. Well, the same applies with doing a chain 3 when your next stitch is a new color. You would chain 2 in your working color and then switch to your new color for the next stitch for the third chain. Let's see if I have an opportunity for that here. Nope, I don't, but I can show you another example now. So on this particular stitch, I need to start the next row with a chain 3 in a new color. I finished this round with Orchid Pink, and I need to start the next round with Navy and do that chain 3 in Navy. Well, in order to do that, what I have to do first is do that slip stitch to join the last round in Navy, because the chain 3 needs to be Navy. So whatever that last step is before the new stitch, whether it's a slip stitch to join the round, a chain 3 to start the round, whatever it may be, you have to do that last step of that last color in the new color. So for this particular round, that meant doing the slip stitch from the previous round. And sometimes it's doing the third chain of a chain 3, and sometimes it's doing the last yarn over pull through 2 in a double crochet. And all of this would be slightly different if we were doing single crochet, but we're doing double crochet today, so I thought I would share all of those details when you're working in double crochet. When we work in single crochet, I'll explain the differences then. But with any luck, if I have any time to crochet today, I have a good possibility of finishing this today. Oh, hey, does anybody know or want to learn how to do I-cord in crochet? I know that you can do I-cord in knitting very easily, and I know that crocheting with I-cord is something that is not as common, and so I was kind of curious how everybody felt about that, and if you would like to see a demo in crochet I-cord, because what I would like to do is do that tomorrow when I've finished the bag, because that's the piece, if I do that grocery bag or paper bag type of a fold for this bag, I thought that doing 2 I-cords, one in Orchid Pink and one in Navy, and maybe twisting them together would be cool. And it looks like I'm getting a lot of yeses. Okay, so everybody would like to learn how to do that. Well, I don't want to cut my yarn to do that right now, so tomorrow we can do that one, okay? I think someone was asking where Faye is. Faye does not always make it to the lives anymore, but if anybody wants to say hello to her, I know that she does still watch the recorded. She's on the East Coast, and so getting up 3 hours earlier than me to catch the live is just too much for her schedule anymore. So anybody that's thinking of her, she is still here. She just watches it later in the day. But thanks for saying hi to Faye. I'm sure she will appreciate that a lot. She sent me some photos of some amigurumi bears that she made in Be So Baby yarn recently, and they were super cute. The other thing that you may have noticed that I'm doing while I'm doing tapestry crochet is when you start the next stitch, I like to give, when I stop using the last color and I move on to the next color, I like to give that old color a tiny tug, not a super hard tug, but a little tug, just to keep the yarn taut and so that it's not too loose. It ends up, as long as you're paying attention to it, it shouldn't get too loose. It's if you don't pay attention to it at all, it could go a little loose. So right now I just switched color, and so I'm going to give a tiny tug to the old color just to make sure that it stays taut. Okay, I'm about to do it again with the pink, so I change my color to navy, and that stitch is rather loose as I do that. So I'm going to just give it a little tug. Does the bag need to be lined? Tammy, I think that is a personal choice always with bags. Obviously doing a bag in solid double crochet, it's not entirely necessary, but it depends on what you would be using the bag for and also the look that you're going for. I think that you could put stuff in this bag and it wouldn't fall out, because it's done in solid double crochet. I'm using a DK weight yarn with a size E crochet hook, so it's a little on the tight side, so it is a pretty solid fabric, not dense but solid. However, if you were going to put heavy things in here, I think it's always a better idea to line a bag if you're going to fill it with heavy stuff. So again, personal preference, it's up to you. If you can leave it unlined, it's pretty gorgeous that the bright graphic print is reversible, but if it doesn't work out practically to not line it, it is very practical to line a bag that's going to get a lot of use. So I hope that makes sense. If you have more questions about that, I'd be happy to answer, because there are lots of pros and cons to lining and not lining. No, Joe, lining is not difficult. It just requires a level of attention and some sewing detail, but it is certainly not difficult to do. I've done some tutorials on lining bags before, and you can look for those on my YouTube channel, or search by bags, by free bag patterns on my website. I also have several bags in some of my books, but the lined ones I think I have video tutorials for here on YouTube. But again, it is personal preference, and it really is determined by how you're going to use a bag, I think. What kind of handles will this bag have? Well, I was just talking about that and saying I think I might do some crochet I-cord handles, but it'll depend on what this bag looks like when I'm done. Sometimes I wait and let the bag speak to me and see what makes the most sense, but I think 2 I-cord handles that are like kind of twisted together would be kind of cool. Or I could do, this was my other thought, is to do a different tapestry crochet pattern in the 2 colors, like a smaller chevron in single crochet, which would be a nice introduction to single crochet tapestry crochet, or tapestry crochet done in single crochet. And that would be, and make that wider, like a, what do you call it? Like a guitar strap, and do that kind of a strap. So those were the 2 that I've been toying with in my brain as I'm working on this. And then, like I said before, if you went with a traditional tapestry crochet design, that one would actually have an I-cord drawstring and a big wide tapestry strap as well. So there's lots of options still, and you could still buy store-bought. You could do wood, acrylic, or bamboo handles if you wanted to, especially if you were going to do this in the tote bag style. I'll set my work down in a second and show you the different shapes again. Okay, always when you're going to set your work down, make your working loop gigantic so that if you do drag it, you won't unravel your work. I think that's one of my favorite tips in the world. There's nothing I hate worse than picking up my work and watching my work unravel by mistake. Okay, so here is the bottom of the bag. It's this big round base, and it's hard to tell because you can't see where the walls begin. So the walls begin at the tip of the star. So at that very tip of the star is where the walls start. So then if I pick it back up this way, you can see that's where the walls start. So now if I wanted it to remain a solid circle, it would look like that. If I wanted it to be flat along the top, it would look like this, which would be more of a tote bag style. And then if I wanted it to have like a grocery bag look, where the sides get gusseted, not gusseted, but where it has like an accordion fold at the sides. And you can make this happen by putting strategic drawstring holes in 8 spots on the bag. And that's the one that I'm leaning toward right now, which will keep your base flat and round, but then as soon as you pick it up, it will pinch the sides so that the top will be narrower. So once you open it up, you'll have a square opening, and once the gravity of pulling on the straps will take this square opening and cinch it up. So those are the different styles that I'm looking at right now. Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, lots to consider. Always so many choices. It only begins with choosing yarn and color, right? Oh man, so fun to choose colors on this too. Thanks, Judy. Thanks, Melissa. Would it be hard to make it smaller? Well, you would have to do, in order to make it smaller, you'd have to start with a smaller design on the base, so you would have to adjust the size of your star, right? This star took 12 rounds to make, so if you wanted to make a smaller star, then yes, you could convert this into a smaller pattern. Absolutely, not a problem. Maybe I'll do that in the pattern and then do the tutorial on the smaller one. That might be a good idea. Thanks everybody, I'm so glad you like it so far. Yeah, well we're getting close to the end. I can't say we're in the home stretch yet, but we're definitely getting closer. But we're almost out of time, and my bird friend is still here. Hi buddy. Wish I knew what you wanted to say. Anyway, let's take this last minute to look out on this gorgeous view, soak in the sounds of the waves, and set our intentions for the day. Come on, buddy. Well, you're here too. Hi, baby. Thanks so much everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed the sunrise, the sound of the waves, the beautiful scenery, our bird friends chatting with me and everyone else here. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!